Okay, let's talk NVIDIA, not on the technical side, only focused on what happened and what could happen to NVIDIA and the rest of the market post NVIDIA's earnings. So like, subscribe, and let's talk NVIDIA. So how was the earnings report from NVIDIA? Everybody thinks it was phenomenal. NVIDIA's earnings report was a showstopper, but the market reaction was not as expected. Or was it? We always say market reacts to earnings how the market wants to react. It doesn't matter how you think, it doesn't matter what I think, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about the numbers. The stock market has its own reaction and we need to be fully prepared for the downside. Let's talk about the earnings. On the one hand, the company beat top and bottom line expectations, grew revenue by more than 120%, gave a solid guidance and announced, listen to this, 50 billion stock buyback. These are all incredibly positive signs and you'd think that the stock would be soaring. But no. So why is the dip? Why the stock actually dip after earnings report? The reason is very simple. Expectations were so high, expectations were too high. Everyone was buying NVIDIA in anticipation of these great earnings. So when they finally came, it was already priced in. The stock had already risen in anticipation of the good news. So when the news actually came out, there was no more room for growth. This is the law of large numbers. This is a classic case of the law of large numbers. When a company is growing as fast as NVIDIA is growing, it's hard to sustain that growth forever. At some point, the law of large numbers kicks in and the growth rate slows down. It doesn't mean that the company is doing anything wrong. It's just a natural part of the growth cycle. The bottom line, NVIDIA's earnings were mind-blowing. Despite the dip in the stock market, NVIDIA's earnings were absolutely mind-blowing, impressive. The company beat every single parameter. It grew revenue by 16% quarter-over-quarter and announced a 50 billion stock buyback. These are all incredibly positive signs and they demonstrate just how strong NVIDIA's business is. So the perfect deal is when the business gets better, but the price stay flat. This is the best deal. Imagine the perfect deal in the stock market, a company that's getting better and better and better, but the price stays flat, the same. That's what's happening with NVIDIA right now. The business is getting better, but the price is not moving. And that means you're getting more bang for your buck. The AI revolution, NVIDIA's sweet spot. NVIDIA is at the forefront of the AI revolution and there's a long runway for growth ahead. The company is dominating the space and its products are in high demand. And with the new product family, Blackwell, on the horizon, there's even more growth potential. The analysts are raising their guidance and price targets for NVIDIA despite the stock pulling back. This tells you a lot about what actually happened here. The numbers of NVIDIA, the numbers that NVIDIA delivered are impossible to ignore and the analysts are taking notice. BofA raised to 165, JP Morgan to 155, Bernstein to 155, Morgan Stanley 150, Mizu 140 and Piper Sandler sees pullback in NVIDIA shares as a buying opportunity. Will this trigger a market pullback? Will this take the entire market down? No, I don't think so. We saw it. NVIDIA went down more than 6%. The market stayed flat. The earnings were fine. It's just a temporary knee-jerk reaction. The market is okay. NVIDIA is strong and the future for NVIDIA and AI is even stronger. Of course, we need some technical analysis on NVIDIA. Look at this. Thursday, NVIDIA went down 6.4%, broke this structure, broke this box, this consolidation. Now we are inside the yellow zone. We are below the upper border of the yellow zone, 115.73, which is the 50% retracement is the next support. Now the 121, all this area, 121, 123 area, now from support will become a very tough resistance. 115.73, as I said, is the next support. Below it we have a gap over here at the 111. This gap, as many of the gaps, more than 85, you know it, because we always say more than 85% of all gaps, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And in case of NVIDIA, we want NVIDIA to close this gap, find support at the 110 and the 110, 109 area, the lower board of the yellow zone, and then we will look for the trend reversal. What happens once a gap is getting filled? Look here, this gap got filled and NVIDIA got stuck, and now we are in a pullback. 90% of all times when the stock market is filling, when price is closing gaps, we get a pullback. In this case, we want this gap at the 110 to get filled. We want to see support at the 110, 109, the lower board of the yellow zone, and here we will look for the trend reversal. Now let's take NVIDIA on a higher time frame and the weekly. Look at this weekly time frame. Always zoom in, zoom out. We took last week's lows. Now we're on the way to the 111 area. This green line that the FTI is giving us is the lower stop loss according to the FTI and the weekly time frame. It all depends on which time frame you're trading, on which time frame you're holding NVIDIA. If you're holding NVIDIA on the weekly time frame, 111 or even below 106 is your stop loss. We're already, look at this, we're bearish on the daily. So the same price action we saw over here. Once we took, look at it, look here, just a few weeks ago, July, this third week of July took the second week of July's lows, and then we got a pullback. Will it happen over here also? We don't know. We need to prepare, always prepare for the downside. As long as we are below the 120 for now, we are on our way to the 111 and the 105. Let's take a look at NVIDIA on the monthly. Look at this. NVIDIA on the monthly, 3 consecutive dojis, which means after this bull run, amazing run, since beginning of January, since the low of January until the peak of June, almost 200%. So some kind of a pullback is very, very healthy. I'm not saying we could reach the 90, but no one knows. We need to prepare for the worst case scenario for now. So, to conclude, on the technical side, on the monthly, as long as we are above the 100, we are good to go. On the weekly, as long as we are above the 111, 109, 110, we're good to go on NVIDIA. And when I say good to go, it means if we are already holding NVIDIA, whether on the monthly, weekly, or daily. On the daily, in my opinion, below 111, closing the gap over here, and if this gap, we will not see a trend reversal once closing this gap, it's the sign to get out. Yes, we can always buy again. So even if we are on the long term, weeks from now, months from now, we don't need to hold once the stock is going down. We can sell and wait for trend reversal. So thank you very much for watching this video. I do hope you find it helpful. If so, like, subscribe. Check the links in the description below. You will find what you're looking for. Until the next video, stay safe.